In my previous life, when Asahi, my childhood friend, was tortured by Scarlet until he was on the verge of death, it was me who called the police to save him. However, after Scarlet was sent to prison because of this, she died unexpectedly. When Asahi learned of this, he didn't show any reaction. The next day, heading fulfilled way in session, he got together with me. Unexpectedly, after we got married, he acquired my family's company and killed my parents. When I was being tormented by him to the point of wishing for death, he whispered in my ear like a devil. She was sent to prison by you at such a young age and lost her life. You will die a terrible death. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day he was being bullied. In the alley, Asahi was covered in blood. This time, I coldly chose to turn a blind eye. There are 200 days left until the college entrance examination. Waking up from a sharp pain and listening to the familiar broadcast nearby, I was shocked to realize that I had been reborn. Help! A faint cry for help came. From a distance, I saw that all too familiar figure, lying on the ground in a sorry state just like in my previous life. Like a dog, I sneered, quickly took out my earphones from my pocket and put them on, and hummed a song as I took a detour to leave. I won't repeat the same mistakes. Whoever wants this bad luck can have it. I still remember that at that time, I was entrusted by my best friend to buy exercise books. In the alley, I saw Scarlet bullying Asahi. A boy was surrounded and beaten by more than a dozen people until he was covered in blood. When I saved him, his face was deathly pale from the pain. It was me who called the police. And then I took him to the hospital to treat his wounds and get an IV. The evening after Scarlet was arrested, Asahi gently took my hand downstairs in the community. Let's be together. He spoke, and his gentle eyes were like a river of spring water, making me sink into them. I slowly nodded and agreed to him. Later, we got married naturally. My parents thought he was an excellent and down-to-earth boy and wholeheartedly supported him. Until I had a car accident. In a pool of blood, he held me, seemingly affectionately leaning down and whispering in my ear like a devil, "You finally have your comeuppance. If it weren't for you calling the police, Scarlet wouldn't have been arrested, and nothing would have happened to her. The informer deserves to die." At that moment, I realized how much he hated me, and that he had always been deeply in love with Scarlet, that girl who at that time was bent on killing him. I opened my mouth but could hardly make any sound, only making broken gasping noises. "I was the one who killed your parents too. They just gave me what they didn't want. Like to a beggar. You all deserve to die." My parents treated him like their own son. Before the two elders fell into a coma, they were telling me to take good care of him in the future. I never expected that the person my parents had loved for years was actually a viper. This time, I decided to let go of my savior complex and laugh at others' fates. Asahi and Scarlet, please lock yourselves together. I will definitely not interfere in your earthly games. I want to see how happy you will be in the future. The next day, accompanied by the clear school bell, Asahi limped into the classroom. The bruises on his face were particularly obvious. "Top student. What happened to you?" someone exclaimed. "By the way, aren't Violet and the top student neighbors? Do you know what's going on?" My desk mate nudged me with his elbow. Suddenly being mentioned, I just felt annoyed and took out a test paper from my desk and started to write. In my previous life, my studies were not as good as his. But this time, it's uncertain. I saw Asahi glance at Scarlet. Scarlet was just sitting quietly in her seat with a faint smile on her face. But that smile was chilling. As if she was afraid I would say something. Asahi quickly answered, "It's nothing. A wild cat suddenly rushed out on my way home last night. And I was so scared that I fell." After speaking, he pulled the chair with effort and sat down. TSK. He really is deeply in love. To protect Scarlet. Even in such a state, he's still covering for her. You were bullied but still not telling the truth. It was actually my sister who found you. She saw you fainted on the ground and called me. We both carried you to the infirmary. When I passed by, I saw Violet walking by without paying attention. Many pairs of eyes suddenly turned to me. Now, I became the target of public criticism. I was listening to music with earphones at that time and didn't hear anything. Besides, I was discussing things with my parents on my phone at that time. I took out my phone. And the time on the chat records cleared me completely. Aren't you two childhood friends? How can you be so cold? What childhood friends? We're just neighbors. Don't talk nonsense. Asahi covered his bruised arm. His head lowered so that his expression couldn't be seen. Yes, heading floselled my Adsai. We're just neighbors. My mother and his mother were best friends. So the two families were not only neighbors but also good friends. We played together when we were very young. From childhood to adulthood. Our parents also tacitly agreed that the two of us would be together in the future. And my eyes always followed him. Now I understand that in my previous life, I misjudged people. I was blind. I took out my phone and waved it. Otherwise, I'll call the police now. It can be considered as a remedy. Anyway, there are surveillance cameras in that area. It can be found out with one check. And it can also give classmate Asahi justice. You can't call the police. Asahi suddenly shouted. Everyone was stunned. Looking at the puzzled eyes of the classmates. Asahi's eyes dodged. And he made up an excuse. They are also students. If we call the police, their whole lives will be ruined. Theft. I couldn't help laughing. Sure enough. It was for Scarlett. Such a ridiculous excuse could be said. I continued to lower my head and do the exercises. Everyone's youth only comes once. God has mercy on me and given me a second chance. Then I must seize it and do what I should do. After school at noon, I didn't wait for Asahi to go home together. But halfway, Asahi caught up with me from behind. You actually saw it that day, right? I readily admitted. Yes, I saw it. So what? Why didn't you save me? We've known each other since we were kids. Asahi grabbed my arm. Looking aggressive. I shook off his hand hard. Sorry. I don't have a moral obligation. Please don't morally blackmail me. Saving you is a kindness. Not saving you is my right. Besides, what's in it for me if I save you? You. Asahi was speechless. Since that's the case, why should I take the risk to save you? People are inherently self-interested. I sneered and walked away quickly. At night, the dedicated battery of my study machine malfunctioned. I carried the study machine downstairs to find the uncle at the convenience store at the entrance of the community to repair and replace it. Under the dim streetlight of the community, I saw a pair of entangled figures. It was Asahi and Scarlett. I quickly hid behind a small dwarf pine. I heard you didn't reveal what happened that day. Scarlett frivolously huffed Asahi's chin with her index finger. Good job, Scarlett. I'm willing to do anything for you. Asahi's voice was a bit shaky. Whether from fear or lust, Scarlett had a glamorous appearance. A beauty mole under her peach blossom eyes was particularly alluring under the light. I have my eye on a bag. It costs 20 yuan. Will you buy it for me? As long as Scarlett needs it, I will definitely do it. I didn't have the interest to listen anymore. Thinking of being innocently involved in their love game in my previous life, and not having a good end. My stomach churned with nausea. Few people knew Scarlett's true face. She always pretended to be a quiet girl at school. But in fact, she was a devil at heart. In my previous life, I once saw her pick up a kitten that was only 2 months old and then throw it hard on the ground. Looking at the kitten screaming and struggling on the ground, there was a smile on her face. In the monthly exam, Asahi dropped out of the top 10 in the whole grade and only ranked 15th in the class. To be honest, Asahi's family conditions were not too bad. But adhering to the concept of raising a son in poverty, his family wouldn't give him much pocket money. And 20 yuan was quite an astronomical figure for him who was still in school. He didn't dare to ask his family for this money. So he could only work bit by bit to earn money for Scarlett's bag. After that, absenteeism and lateness became countless. The original top student gradually fell from the altar and disappeared. One day, I went to the office to hand in homework to the teacher and happened to see Asahi's parents being called. The head teacher didn't look happy in front of Asahi's mother. In this mock exam, Asahi dropped 300 places. What on earth has Asahi been doing recently? Does he realize that the college entrance examination is coming soon? The college entrance examination is no joke. Maybe a 1-point difference in the future will lead to a different situation. How can he be so casual? You used to be an example for the whole grade. The teacher was a bit disappointed. Asahi just lowered his head and didn't say a word, while his mother looked extremely ashamed and kept apologizing to the teacher. I was afraid that auntie would be embarrassed. So I quickly explained to the subject teacher and left the office after putting down the homework. In the evening, I met his mother at the entrance of the unit and had to say hello. Violet. You're back from school. Why didn't you come back with Asahi? Have you seen him? The matter between me and Asahi hadn't been told to anyone. So Asahi's mother still thought we were like before. I shook my head. His mother sighed. This child has changed a lot recently. He always comes home very late, and I don't know what he's doing. How could his grades drop so much? He never used to worry me about these things before. Violet. You've always had a good relationship with him. Please persuade him for me. Consider it a favor from Auntie. Since the elder had said so much, I couldn't refuse any more and had to nod in agreement. To be honest, I really didn't want to have too much interaction with him anymore. But I could understand a mother's feelings. The next day in class, I was doing exercises when suddenly a paper ball flew in front of me. I looked at the teacher on the podium. It seemed that the teacher didn't react. I breathed a sigh of relief and secretly unfolded the paper ball. Meet me under the tree at the South Snack Bar of the teaching building after school. I have something to tell you. If you don't come, you'll bear the consequences. Scarlett. What on earth did this crazy woman want with me? Instead of being affectionate with her little followers, she was disturbing my study. Considering the danger of this crazy woman and the complexity of the people at the entrance of the snack bar, I ruled out some dangerous factors and finally decided to go to the appointment. Speak. What do you want? Scarlett was chewing on a lollipop. Yo. Isn't this the one who used to fawn over Asahi a lot? Recalling what I had done in my previous life, I sighed. Let me emphasize again. I'm just a neighbor of his. Let me tell you, Asahi will never be with you. He is my dog. I laughed. Oh, is that all? You guys have some wild play. So what? Even if he's a dog, you're not qualified to touch him. Scarlett crossed her arms and looked down at me. Please lock yourselves together quickly. Who wants him anyway? Yeah. Your dog. All yours. No one's competing with you. Seeing that she didn't say anything substantial, I planned to leave. 10 minutes earlier to go back meant I could solve one more problem. But she suddenly hooked the corner of her mouth. Wait. Violet. Do you think Asahi will believe me or you? She covered her face and fell to the ground, looking at me with a sad face. Violet. If you want to be with Asahi, I can step aside. But why did you hit me? She really played the role of a weak and innocent girl well. Two-faced. Really. Violet. Don't push me too far. I heard Asahi's voice. It's okay. Classmate Asahi. If doing this makes her feel better, I don't blame her. She just likes you too much. So they were waiting for me here. This is such an old and worn-out plot. Aren't they tired of it? Asahi quickly helped up his beloved and dusted off the dirt on her clothes. Violet. Apologized to Scarlett. He slapped me hard and pushed me, his eyes full of anger. I sneered. I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? You hurt Scarlett. At this time, several idle boys in the class came over to stir up trouble. Yo, Asahi, heading fulfilled my sorry. This is the epic showdown between the childhood sweetheart and the first love. Now the relationship between Asahi and Scarlett is well known. Scarlett transferred to our school, causing quite a stir in the class. There were plenty of boys who stuffed love letters to her. Asahi frowned tightly. I made a gesture to interrupt them. I'll say this one last time. I'm just neighbors with him. Playing hard to get. Violet. I don't have time to waste on you. I still need to take Scarlett to the infirmary. Apologize right now. Which eye of yours saw me hurt her? If your eyes are just for show, you might as well donate them to those in need. It's okay. It's just a minor scrape. Violet was just in a hurry. Don't blame her. Scarlet's false kindness made me sick. I didn't want to get entangled with her at all, and was about to leave. But then I remembered Asahi's mother's request, so I turned around and said, Oh, by the way, your mom asked me to persuade you. There are less than 200 days left until the college entrance examination. She hopes you can focus on your studies and put off falling in love until later. Asahi sneered. Violet. You really make me look down on you. You even brought my mom into this. Saying my mom asked you to persuade me. Give up. There's only Scarlet in my heart. You can't compare with her. Apologize to Scarlet right now. If it were me in the previous life hearing these words, I might have been heartbroken and even too sad to eat. But now, having died once, I don't feel that way at all. In fact, these words don't even stir up the slightest emotion in my heart. I've said all I have to say. You'd better look out for yourself. There's no point in talking to someone who's been brainwashed. Without the filter of the previous life, I realize that Asahi is just an ordinary boy. Nothing special. As it is said in a book, it's your love that makes him shine. Since I completely parted ways with him that day, I've been focusing all my attention on my studies. My best friend once asked me while copying notes, "Are you sad about this outcome?" I was taken aback for a moment. The current Violet in this life definitely wouldn't be sad. But no one knows that I was reborn. So it would seem a bit abrupt to say I'm not sad without explanation. So I thought carefully about my words and replied, I might have been a bit sad at first. But then again, we never actually confirmed our relationship. Maybe it was just my one-sided wish before. I can't interfere with his choice. To put it bluntly, I used to like him. But I definitely won't in the future. Now I'm a good and dedicated student. And all I care about is studying. What's more, after getting into university, I'll have better choices and won't have trouble finding high-quality boys. My best friend, cool. When the monthly exam results came out, I topped the class for the first time, ranking second in the class and ninth in the whole grade. But my math has always been a weak subject, so I still need to improve it. During the break, I was bent over doing a trigonometer problem. Violet. Someone called me. I looked up and it was Scarlet. I hope this person isn't here to make trouble again. She smiled at me, then grabbed Asahi by the collar and suddenly kissed him. At this time, whistles, screams, and applause resounded in the classroom. Is she here to declare her sovereignty in my territory? After breaking free from the blinders of love, I just thought it was childish. Oh. I sincerely wish you too well. Remember to invite me to your wedding. But sorry, Scarlet. You're pressing on my math paper. There's more space next to the trash can at the back of the classroom. You two can continue kissing there. After all, everyone is responsible for garbage sorting. I pushed Scarlet aside, trying to pull out the part of the paper that her hand was pressing on. Who are you scolding? Please don't assume I'm referring to you. You. Scarlet didn't expect me to react like this. And because she didn't dare to show her true colors in the classroom, she just rolled her eyes, clicked her tongue, and left in a huff. Asahi followed Scarlet like a shadow. In the end, Scarlet gave Asahi a fierce glare. I guess someone is going to have a rough night tonight. I continued with the next permutation and combination problem. I really didn't want to eat in the school cafeteria for lunch. So I made an appointment with my classmates to go eat the braised chicken next to the school. Sitting at the table waiting for the food is indeed a boring moment. So we all looked at the people coming and going outside the door. Among the crowd full of black-haired people, a guy with yellow hair on his head caught our attention particularly. IWW. Why is Scarlet with such a person? Looking in the direction my classmate pointed, Scarlet was snuggling affectionately against the yellow-haired guy and then got into a car. Wait a minute. Isn't she with Asahi from our class? We've discovered a big scoop. I hope Asahi, who might have a green grassland on his head, can still manage to smile when he discovers this secret. Scarlet is pregnant. I found out about this because Scarlet's mother came to the school making a big scene, insisting that Asahi take responsibility. I didn't expect that a woman with such a pretty face could act like a shrew, even sitting at the door of the class crying and howling. The homeroom teacher had no choice but to contact Asahi's mother. What happened next was just a rumored version. As soon as his mother found out, she rushed over and proposed that Asahi take Scarlett to have an abortion. And the Asahi family would cover the expenses. The Asahi family would also pay for the girl's nutritional products and other supplies later. But Scarlett's mother refused no matter what. She somehow heard that the Asahi family had some spare money from their business, and insisted that Asahi marry her daughter to let it go. Asahi also stubbornly threatened and that if his mother made Scarlett have an abortion, he would sever their mother-son relationship. In a fit of anger, Asahi's mother completely cut off Asahi's living expenses and kicked him out. In the previous life, with the support of the Asahi family and my family, he was able to achieve some success. In this life, he has nothing. I'm just waiting to see the bitter fruit he and Scarlett will reap. Once this incident happened, the buddies who used to be on good terms with Asahi no longer hung out with him. For fear of being associated with him and being thought of as one takes on the characteristics of one's company. The teacher also completely gave up on this once promising student. No one would say a word even if he skipped classes or was late. Every day, heavy day, all I did was study. I made the most of every minute and second. Although I was reborn, no one could say for sure if the exam questions would be the same as in the previous life. All I could do was study down to earth, strive for one more point, and work hard bit by bit. Because Scarlett was pregnant, Asahi moved in with her to take care of her. Scarlett completely stopped going to school. Asahi had to go to school and work part-time to take care of the pregnant Scarlett at the same time, which was really beyond his ability. We gradually drifted apart and had no more interactions. Finally, having fulfilled my anxiety, the college entrance examination arrived. With the encouragement of my parents and the blessings of my teachers, I walked into the examination room with everyone else, facing the first major exam in my life. At this moment, all my efforts paid off. Looking at the questions on the test paper, I was glad that I didn't take any shortcuts. The questions were completely different from those in the previous life, but the types of questions were almost the same. I read the questions carefully, answered them steadily, and tried my best to perform at my best level. After the college entrance examination, I went home. My parents cooked a table full of delicious food. We didn't mention the exam situation at all. We just focused on the food, had a good meal, and at night, I took out my tablet and binge-watched dramas all night. My vacation has begun. I started learning how to do makeup and dress up, and I started going to karaoke and shopping with my best friends. Doing the right thing at the right time won't waste my youth. One day, just as I put a piece of braised pork into my mouth, my mother said, "Violet, I noticed that you don't have much contact with Asahi anymore." I nodded while chewing the braised pork, my mouth full. His girlfriend is pregnant. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to get too close to him. Right? You two were really close when you were kids. Your aunt and I even thought that maybe you two could become in-laws in the future. Why did you suddenly bring this up? I just went to visit your aunt next door. I don't know what's gotten into Asahi. Why is he so obsessed with that girl? They had a fight the day before the college entrance examination. And the girl was so angry that she cut Asahi's ID card. Wow. That's really explosive. So Asahi didn't take the college entrance examination? Thanks to your uncle who found someone to help. Asahi entered the exam room with a temporary ID card, but according to your aunt, he didn't perform well. He didn't even do the big questions. I'm afraid he didn't do well in the exam. I didn't say anything and continued to eat with my head down. This was his own choice. And he couldn't blame anyone else. When the admissions offices of Tingshui University and Peking University called, my mother hung up the phone. The three of us hugged each other and laughed and cried. I really did it. There were a lot of people coming and going at the entrance ceremony. The topics of discussion basically revolved around the college entrance examination and the high school entrance examination. We also invited the Asahi family. Although Asahi and I aren't as close as we used to be, our mothers are still the best of friends. Asahi's mother also came to celebrate with sincere blessings. Yo! I remember Asahi is also a good student. I even held him when he was a kid. So I'm sure he can get into Tsinghua or Peking University. Right? My good-for-nothing son only got a little over 500 points. He can't compare with your child. Uncle Yu, hadn't fulfilled Sai, who was shaking his head while speaking, was a good colleague of my mother and Asahi's mother in the past. His family moved to the south 3 years ago, and he came specifically to attend my entrance ceremony. Asahi's mother just smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything. Long time no see. Uncle Yu, why didn't your aunt come with you? I quickly changed the subject. While Asahi's mother was in the restroom, an informed uncle beside whispered in Uncle Yu's ear. Uncle Yu, hadn't fulfilled Sai. Why did you bring up such a sensitive topic as soon as you came? You don't know about Asahi. Sai. He's gone bad. He'll probably only be able to get into a junior college. After the entrance ceremony ended and everyone left, my family was packing up in the hotel. Then Asahi came. When my parents saw Asahi, they just smiled politely and then left on their own, leaving the two of us some space. Congratulations, Violet. I lowered my head to pack my things and replied, thank you. Then there was a brief silence. How Scarlet? Now my state of mind is different from when I was first reborn. Some things have faded away, and all that's left is calmness. She's okay. Asahi smiled bitterly. Only you have fulfilled our agreement. This is not only an agreement between you and me, but also an agreement between me and my youth. Asahi finally left silently, looking disheartened. But it had nothing to do with me anymore. After the 3-month vacation, I went to study at Tsinghua University. I put aside the halo of the provincial top scorer and started from scratch. After all, there were many talented people there. And there was always someone better. I made some like-minded friends and we studied and did research together. Within 4 years, I won many scholarships and personal honors. After graduation, I went abroad to study. 3 years later, I returned to China with knowledge and technology. The monitor contacted me and said that a class reunion was organized and asked if I could go. I readily agreed. Everyone had changed. The bulb PE monitor actually became a preschool teacher. And the quiet art monitor in the class started doing e-commerce. The only thing that remained unchanged was the intimacy when we met. Big boss. Please take care of me. Scientist. I admire you. We clinked glasses. Recalled the past. And also mentioned Asahi and Scarlet. But it was just a passing mention. Those once magnificent things were just the past. Sitting in the taxi on the way home, looking at the neon lights outside the window, I suddenly felt that no matter how many friends I had outside or how good my connections were, it was not as reassuring as being in this small city. Home was always home. Violet. As soon as I opened the door, I was greeted by my mother's warm embrace. With parents around, there was always a place to go in life. I threw myself into my mother's arms. And my father smiled and pulled my suitcase into the bedroom. Don't leave once you're back. My mother pulled me to sit in the dining room. Of course I won't leave. I'm here to accompany my parents. Your father specially made your favorite braised pork today. Then I must eat my fill. I ate heartily. Foreign food was really not friendly to my stomach. I got sick of eating hamburgers. After returning to China, I had no interest in KFC and McDonald's at all. While I was eating, my phone vibrated. It was my best friend. Meet at Nightfall Bar 8 o'clock tonight. I'll introduce you to someone. If you don't come, we'll break up. Got it. This girl knew that I had a bit of PTSD towards boys since Asahi. But she still kept introducing boys to me. It was the same when I was abroad. She would introduce all kinds of boys to me, claiming it was desensitization therapy. If I didn't go, just listening to her howl would be enough to give me a headache. Every time I went, it was just a routine. Anyway, heading for Silvide session. I could just say I wasn't interested afterwards. When I arrived at Nightfall Bar, I saw her waving excitedly at me from a distance. Violet. Over here. I nodded at her and walked over. Under the dim lights, everyone seemed drunk yet sober. I didn't know why we had to come to a bar for a blind date. I accidentally bumped into a girl. Damn it. Are you blind? A curse followed. Sorry. The lights are a bit dim. Don't be angry. Scarlet. Brother will comfort you later. Don't get angry with the passerby. A man rubbed the woman's arm lewdly and pinched her butt. Brother. Stop talking. I still have a backache. Then brother will be gentle tonight. Scarlet? Was it the Scarlet I knew? Wasn't she with Asahi? I never expected a girl to degenerate like this. I wonder what Asahi would do if he knew. He would probably go crazy. I was right. But I didn't expect him to go that crazy. He killed Scarlet just like he killed me in the previous life. When I was summoned to the police station, Asahi had already absconded. After many years, I saw Asahi's mother again. Unexpectedly, having fulfilled my obsession. Asahi's mother already had white hair and looked much older. She had fainted several times after learning that her son had committed a crime. I made an appointment with a friend to meet at the bar that day. I accidentally bumped into a girl. According to the boy next to her, the girl was called Scarlet. I'm not sure if it's the same person. I truthfully explained to the police. We are investigating the suspect's motive for the crime. Thank you for your cooperation in assisting the investigation. I never expected that going to a bar would lead to a case. And the criminal was someone I knew. I couldn't describe how I felt. My best friend needed to go abroad for work reasons soon. I planned to see her off at the airport. Unexpectedly, I met an old acquaintance at the airport. Asahi had been arrested. The police escorted him past me. The once cool young man was no longer high-spirited. He had a scruffy beard and looked decadent. After a brief eye contact, he was stunned, as if he wanted to say something but held back. Asahi was sentenced to death with a 2-year reprieve for intentional homicide. After the verdict, he asked to see me by name. The next time we met, there was an iron fence between us. The first thing he said when he saw me was, "I'm sorry." Asahi, what you're sorry for is your own conscience. Your aunt and uncle. And those who love you and have high hopes for you. You shouldn't say sorry to me. I owe you an apology. It seems unnecessary now. After all, you make a choice and bear the consequences. Help. That child wasn't mine. I was kept in the dark by her all the time. I treated her so well. But she betrayed me. My mind went blank and by the time I came to my senses, I had already killed her, Asahi said, holding his head and crying. I didn't know what to say to him either. I no longer hated him, but he should never have touched the red line of the law. No one could do anything about it. Sitting in the car, looking at the trees passing by outside the window, I suddenly thought of the summer 3 years ago, when we had just entered high school. Asahi came to my house to find me. I was sitting at the desk folding paper cranes. He held my teddy bear and said to me, "Violet, let's both get into Tingshui University." I smiled while folding. It's not that easy to get into Tingshui University. I'm not a top student like you. He suddenly got close to me. His eyes turning into crescent runes and shining brightly. I'll tutor you. Anyway, having fulfilled my absai. We have to be together all the time. At that moment, the little deer in my heart came to life and bumped around chitically. No one could have imagined that the dreams of 2 young people would shatter like bubbles and disappear in that summer of senior year of high school. "Ma'am, what's good for them? We've arrived at the destination." The driver's voice pulled me out of my distant thoughts. Looking up at the sign of Xiangmeng Research, I knew that I had to continue walking on the path I had chosen. Live up to my youth. And enjoy life to the fullest. My sister is a talented girl who was just 1 step away from Tingshui University. But before the college entrance examination, she was bullied to a pulp by the school hunk. Burning with anger, I reported the situation to the school overnight and got the other party expelled. However, after he dropped out of school, my sister hated me to the core and committed suicide by jumping off the flag-raising platform. As a result, I became a murderer condemned by thousands of people. My parents forced me to kneel in the school to atone for her. It turned out that my sister had long been infatuated with the school hunk she hated the most. Fine, having fulfilled my absa, as she wished. After being reborn, I immediately applied for a transfer to another school at the same level. Then, Pulenavalo Sai. Looking at my reborn sister, she desperately shouted at our parents, "Did I ask you to scrimp and save to support my studies? I just didn't want to go to Tingshui University. I just wanted to be with him. What's wrong with me? The school hunk, Flynn, confessed his love to the top student, Sunny, which shocked the whole school. During the long break, Flynn held a guitar and stood downstairs of the teaching building, singing love songs affectionately. I like you, Sunny. Sunny in the crowd was already in tears and extremely excited. In the previous life, Sunny didn't accept Flynn's confession. She seemed to be focused on her studies. But only after her death did I know that Sunny had long been hopelessly infatuated with the school hunk she hated the most. However, this time, Sunny rushed up excitedly and hugged him tightly. The whole class of students cheered. The school hunk and the top student are together. They're like the male and female protagonists in a novel. They look so well matched standing together. But this is high school. The college entrance examination is coming next semester. They're too blatant. The principal. The students who were celebrating enthusiastically finally noticed my presence. In an instant, the surrounding excitement came to an abrupt end. I met Sunny's eyes. The hatred in her eyes for me hadn't faded, so she stared at me coldly all the time. At this moment, I suddenly realized that Sunny was reborn just like me. The only change was that she made a different choice from the previous life. I didn't want to get involved directly, so I asked the dean of students to deal with the matter of Sunny and Flynn. The dean gave them an oral warning, saying there should be no next time. Nevertheless, Sunny and Flynn still went their own way. Until the day when the monthly exam results came out and Sunny got the first place again. I passed by the toilet and glimpsed that she was kicked to the ground. Subsequently, a basin of cold water was poured over her head. Flynn. Sunny looked at Flynn with eyes full of love. Flynn instantly made the young man clench his fists and grab her head, smashing it against the wall. He exuded a fierce aura, shouting angrily through gritted teeth, "Is being the first in the grade so great? You're still beaten into submission by me." Blood soon oozed from her forehead. It was not until Flynn completely vented his anger that he let go of Sunny. But Sunny had no complaints and lay on the ground, gasping for breath. After Flynn left, Sunny noticed me. "Sis. Huh. Did she still know I was her real sister?" In the previous life, after Flynn's confession failed, he flew into a rage and secretly started bullying Sunny. It was not until I found her covered in bruises that I flew into a rage, called a meeting of the dean overnight, and directly got Flynn to drop out of school. Unexpectedly, in the second week after his dropout, Sunny, with tears all over her face, rushed to the flag-raising ceremony, took a loudspeaker, and shouted at me in front of the whole school, "Violet, the person I hate the most in my life is you. In order to separate me and Flynn, you even used your private power to make him drop out of school. I want to tell Violet in front of all the teachers and students in the school that I love Flynn. I'm willing to give up my future and die for him." So Sunny did what she said. In order to retaliate against me for driving Flynn away, she directly committed suicide by jumping off the building during the flag-raising ceremony. And blood splattered 3 feet on the spot. I suddenly became a heinous murderer, the culprit who killed my own sister. I was expelled from school and my reputation was ruined. My future was bleak. My parents forced me to kneel at the school gate to atone for my sister. Relatives and neighbors cursed me as a dark murderer. I was even spat on by everyone whenever I went out. All of this was because I helped Sunny, but was stabbed in the back by her, who was love-struck. So if I could do it all over again, this time, I wish them 100 years of good union. To avoid any changes, I quickly prepared materials and applied for a transfer to another school at the same level, completely staying away from my ungrateful sister. But during this period, I was still the youngest female principal in the history of Zhizu High School. One day, when I was having a meeting in the school, Sunny burst in and shouted angrily, "Why didn't you save me? Do you know I was almost beaten to death?" Sunny obviously didn't realize that all the teachers in the school were there. Her arrogant look seemed a bit guilty, and she subconsciously wanted to go out. I immediately called her. "Wait a minute. Who bullied you?" I raised my eyebrows and smiled. "Tell everyone here who exactly bullied you? We can all back you up." Sunny nervously grabbed the sleeves of her clothes. The bruises on her face and the bandage on her forehead. Everywhere revealed the marks of her being severely beaten. Sunny stammered and couldn't say it. The school clearly prohibits campus bullying. So all the teachers in the school were very angry. Sunny, don't be afraid. Who dares to bully you? As long as you say it, the leader will definitely deal with it seriously. Seeing that the school was going to thoroughly investigate this matter, Sunny panicked. Closing her eyes, she casually said a name. Jasper. Jasper is a good student who ranks second in the grade. Only second to Sunny. He's jealous that I study well and always get better grades than him. He wants to hurt me so that there will be one less person participating in the recommended admission exam, and he will have no competitors. These words made everyone present fall into silence. Only Mr. Lincoln, who was sitting in the position of the school board member, put down his teacup with a click. Nonsense. That's right. The good student Sunny slandered happened to be Mr. Lincoln's son. A big shot getting angry in public completely frightened Sunny. Her face turned deathly pale, and cold sweat dripped from her forehead onto the ground. Mr. Lincoln was extremely angry. Jasper always praises you for your hard work in studying, being diligent and motivated. He regards you as a role model. Whether it's Jasper or not, I will thoroughly investigate this matter. If it's really him, I'll break his legs and make him kneel down to apologize to you. Mr. Lincoln's words left Sunny unable to parry. Once the investigation started, the person she would expose was Flynn. She didn't dare to let the school investigate, so she could only admit that she had slandered. Sunny wrote a self-reflection letter, and the school reluctantly forgave her. Until the recommended admission exam, her test paper was severely criticized by the Education Bureau and finally sent to my email. On a Chinese test paper, the whole page was filled with her love for Flynn. Not only that, she only answered the multiple choice questions and left all the major questions on the test paper blank. And on the composition, she wrote a touching love letter. The dean of students was so angry that he almost vomited blood and directly made a public announcement in the broadcasting room. Sunny, ignoring the school rules, showing disregard for the recommended admission exam, and disrespecting school education. If there is a next time, the school will consider expelling Sunny. Now the whole school knew that Sunny had deliberately written a love letter to Flynn on the test paper at the recommended admission exam. The two of them became completely famous in the school. It only took a month. Regarding the school's handling, Sunny didn't take it seriously at all and continued to go out early and come back late with Flynn. A week later, on the day when the students had a holiday, I was inspecting the school and accidentally saw Sunny kneeling on the ground in the classroom, crying and begging Flynn. Flynn, what exactly should I do? Tell me. I clearly wrote the love letter all over the test paper as promised. Don't break up with me, okay? I really like you so much. She was crying uncontrollably, her shoulders trembling. And Flynn laughed with great disdain. He pinched Sunny's face, which was streaked with tears, and said impatiently, I've had enough of the taste of dating the first-ranked student in the grade. It's just so. I was just playing around. Who knew you? Sunny couldn't take a joke and actually took it seriously. I watched the distraught Sunny calmly. In the previous life, Sunny didn't know until her death that Flynn chased her only because of a bet with his friends. He just wanted to pull the top-ranked student off the pedestal. Nothing more. From beginning to end, only Sunny was serious. Flynn, annoyed by Sunny's crying, turned around and left. I also left the school. At this time, a friend called me and asked me to go to the bar to celebrate my upcoming departure from Zhaizu High School. In the middle of drinking, I accidentally saw Sunny lying on the bar counter, drinking. She drank like drinking water. There was no trace of the diligent good student and good sister. I was extremely disappointed and casually sent the address to my parents. In the previous life, after Sunny's death, they vented all their resentment and hatred on me. In the end, they locked me in the room to reflect, leaving me to die of a high fever. Now, I want them to take a good look. What was the true face of their beloved, well-behaved little daughter? But I didn't expect that Flynn was also in this bar. After I saw him, Sunny naturally saw him too. She stumbled and ran in front of Flynn. Sunny's legs went weak, and she knelt down in front of Flynn with a thud. This made the friends around him whistle continuously. Yo, Flynn, where did this little good girl come from? Flynn held a cigarette in his mouth, squinted his eyes, and said playfully, the first-ranked student in my school. She's said to be a potential candidate for Tsinghua or Peking University. But so what? She's just something I've played with. Sunny pursed her lips and said in a plaintive tone, Flynn, can you be with me? I still have many sides you haven't seen. Flynn wanted to show off in front of his friends, so he directly slapped Sunny twice. Slap. The clear sound of the slaps was very loud. Then, Flynn blew a puff of smoke into Sunny's face and asked in a ruffian way, do you still want to be with me? Sunny seemed to be seduced and said obsessively, yes, love can relieve pain, Flynn. These words made Flynn burst out laughing. Haha, so what if she's a child of God, a person of great talent? So what if she's a top-notch student? Isn't she still at my mercy? Sunny took the initiative to unzip her school uniform, revealing half of her fair skin. She was wearing a sexy black lace camisole. After showing off, Flynn unceremoniously put his arm around her slender waist and held her in his arms. Sunny was very thin, and the sexy clothes didn't look out of place on her. Her fair skin and the black camisole were in sharp contrast, very eye-catching. She was now leaning on Flynn, her eyes full of dependence. Like this? Can you be with me now? You're so beautiful tonight, baby. Flynn directly carried her to the center of the dance floor and danced passionately in public. She enjoyed the admiration of the crowd and completely sank. There was no sign of the previous innocent good student. The two of them were dancing closely, forgetting everything. Until Sunny. A shrill voice completely shattered the atmosphere. The moment Sunny turned around, her pupils shrank, and her eyes were filled with panic. In an instant, her face turned pale. All of this was seen by my mother. And Flynn didn't notice anything wrong. He grabbed Sunny's chin and gave her a hard kiss. My father also rushed to the scene. Now, the good show officially began. A deep kiss completely ignited the whole place. Sunny was indulged in a passionate kiss with Flynn. After being reborn, she had long left everything behind. In her heart and eyes, there was only Flynn left. Until my mother, trembling all over, stepped forward and pulled them apart forcefully. Flynn roared impatiently, who the hell are you? Seeing my mother, Sunny panicked and said in a trembling voice, Mom, how could you be here? My mother pulled Sunny away, with tears glistening in her eyes, and exclaimed in disbelief, Sunny, what are you doing? How could you come to such a place? You're still a student. How could you be with this kind of street loafer? Sunny held on to Flynn's arm tightly and retorted earnestly, Mom, he's my boyfriend. Nonsense. My father walked up quickly, raised his hand, and was about to slap her. His hand stopped in midair. And finally, he couldn't bring himself to do it. Come here. My father reached out and dragged Sunny to his side. No matter how much Sunny struggled, he had no intention of letting go. Flynn sneered disapprovingly and said in a sarcastic tone, Go home with your parents obediently, little girl. This was clearly a threat to Sunny. If Sunny left with my father obediently now, then Flynn would definitely break up with her completely. And Sunny, sensing Flynn's intention, shook off my father's hand on the spot. She boldly declared her love in front of everyone in the bar. Dad, I just want to be with Flynn. He's my boyfriend and I love him. Slap. My father was so angry that he slapped Sunny across the face without hesitation. The slap was very loud. Everyone in the whole place was stunned. Sunny's eyes instantly turned red. Dad, you actually hit me. Since she was a child, Sunny had been doted on by her parents. They had never said a harsh word to her, let alone hit her. This slap hit me right in the heart. A sense of relief welled up in my heart. Sunny should have been severely taught a lesson long ago. Instead of feeling sorry for Sunny, Flynn even blew a hooligan whistle proudly. So what if she's a top-notch student? She still broke up with her family for me. Seeing that Sunny refused to be persuaded and insisted on being with Flynn, my mother was immediately anxious. She could only compromise for now. Sunny, we agree that you can be with this classmate. But can you go home with Mom first? Sunny looked at Flynn again. Only after Flynn reluctantly nodded as a kind of favor, did Sunny heave a sigh of relief. Mom, I promise you that even if I'm with Flynn, I won't neglect my studies. I can still get into Tsinghua or Peking University. My mother smiled gratifyingly, good girl. Before leaving, Sunny noticed me standing in the corner. She stopped, walked towards me step by step with hatred in her eyes, and said angrily, Violet, it was you who tipped off our parents. Right? Who asked you to meddle? Flynn and I are truly in love. Don't think you can stop us from being together like this. I curved my lips and stared at her indiferently. Who said I want to stop you? I wish you to a harmonious union lasting 100 years. And an unending love. Hearing this, Sunny was a little more satisfied. But there was always someone who wasn't satisfied. Violet. Who allowed you to say such things to your sister? Could it be that you instigated all this? My father said this and shouted even more angrily. Violet. Are you getting cocky? Don't think you're something just because you're the principal now. Even if you hold a higher position, you're still my daughter. My mother echoed right after. That's right. Violet. As an elder sister, you don't take good care of your sister. But even let her come to such a place. It seems that Sunny has been completely spoiled by you. As I expected, they shifted all the blame onto me. It had always been like this since I was a child. Ever since Sunny was born, the whole family had been caring about her. And no one had ever cared about me. Whether Sunny got bumped or hurt, it was always my fault. I twitched my lips and laughed. Can you open your eyes wide and take a good look at what kind of good daughter you've raised? She's dead set on being with Flynn. What does it have to do with me? You can't stop her from throwing herself at him. How could I stop her? My father was so angry that his chest heaved violently, and his face was gloomy. He pointed at me with a trembling finger. Furious, cut the crap, you're just selfish. You can't even control your own sister. What kind of lousy principal are you? What qualifications do you have? Although I didn't get into Tsinghua or Peking University in the college entrance examination back then, I was still the most outstanding graduate of that key university. I worked my way up from a high school teacher. No one could understand the hardships and sufferings I had endured during this period. Since I took office, there has never been a single mistake in the school. I will never allow anyone to deny my professional ability. Not even my own parents. The teachers in the school know better than you whether I'm qualified or not. The leaders will make their own judgment. And the students can feel it even more. I took a deep breath. You have no right to ask me to take care of Sunny's affairs, because I'm no longer the principal of Zhizim High School. From now on, I won't get involved in her affairs at all. Facing my parents' disappointed expressions, I was extremely angry. In my previous life, they gave all their love to Sunny, and I never received their salvation until I died. So in this life, how could I pretend nothing had happened and get along with them peacefully? After the transfer order came down, I immediately transferred from Zhizim High School to No. 2 Middle School. The learning atmosphere here is very good. All senior 3 students are nervously preparing for the college entrance examination, and have no time for love affairs. Soon, let out a low sigh. The college entrance examination arrived. And all the examinees rushed to the examination hall, Sunny included. I heard from the teachers of Zhizim High School that with Sunny's current grades, as long as she takes the exam seriously, she can still get into a first-tier university. She could have gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University originally. But since she got together with Flynn, her grades have dropped sharply and she's always skipping classes. Jasper has long surpassed her. After the college entrance examination, I was invited to be one of the examiners for grading the college entrance examination papers. Coincidentally, after all the papers were graded that day, I was reviewing Sunny's paper. Although I couldn't see the name, I was already familiar with her handwriting. But I didn't expect that when it came to the college entrance examination, Sunny was still as unrepentant as she was in the recommendation examination. She only seriously did the multiple choice and fill in the blank questions. And the major question area was almost completely blank. After I finished checking this batch of answer sheets, and just walked out, I saw the message my mother sent in the family group. My Sunny will definitely get into Tsinghua or Peking University. She has been studying hard and being sensible since she was a child. My cousin Aunt immediately replied in the group, your girls are all high achievers. Violet is already the principal of a high school at such a young age. Sunny's future must be even brighter. Violet is not good enough. Sunny won't be as rigid as her sister. When the results come out, everyone come to my place to celebrate for Sunny. After replying to my cousin Aunt, my mother turned around and sent me a message. How did your sister do in the exam? Is she the provincial top scorer? Huh. With her grades. She still wants to be the provincial top scorer? I didn't reply to her. My mother continued to send me messages. Even if you don't say, I know your sister will definitely get into Tsinghua or Peking University. She must be the provincial top scorer for girls. Before the exam results came out, all the neighbors learned from my parents that Sunny was the provincial top scorer and would definitely get into Tsinghua or Peking University. Especially my mother, who told everyone she met that her little daughter Sunny was extremely amazing, and that their ancestral graves were emitting auspicious smoke. On the day the exam results came out, my mother called me and said I must go home. She was also very excited on the phone. Today is a big day for your sister. Your father and I have already discussed it. We'll invite all the relatives over today to hold a celebration banquet for Sunny. And your little cousin from your uncle's family. She took the college entrance examination with Sunny this year. But she's not smart since she was a child. She must have done poorly this time. Hearing this, I suddenly found it a bit funny. My uncle's little daughter, Scarlett. She's a senior 3 student in my school. I heard from the class teacher below that she studies very hard. Throughout the whole senior 3 year, her grade ranking has leapt forward by who knows how many places. How could Sunny, who is in love every day, compare with her? I really want to see if my mother can still laugh when the results come out. As soon as I got home, I heard my mother talking about Scarlett. Scarlett, don't be discouraged if you didn't do well. Although you can't compare with Sunny, you've worked so hard. You must be able to get into a good university. After all, my Sunny is not someone ordinary can compare with. Scarlett blushed deeply and said in a low voice, actually, I think I did well in this exam. My mother was still excited and continued to praise Sunny. Blind confidence is also a kind of confidence. Unlike Sunny, who told me not to make a big deal of it 2 days ago. This child has been modest since she was a child. Sunny, who was sitting in the corner, looked very nervous and didn't dare to say a word. Of course, she didn't dare to make a big deal of it. I walked over and took the initiative to speak up for Scarlett. Scarlett is really a good student. Whether she can get into Tsinghua or Peking University, she's a good girl who studies hard. Seeing me, Scarlett immediately stood up. Principal. I smiled and gently rubbed her head. At home, just call me sister. Sunny, who had been sitting quietly aside, suddenly mumbled in a low voice, what are you pretending for? Still acting like a principal at home. Is being a principal so great? There were not many people in the living room originally. And everyone was chatting outside. Her voice was neither too loud nor too soft, and everyone heard it. I raised my eyebrows and said calmly, of course it's great. After all, it's a height you can't reach. Sunny's face instantly changed. She said in a pouting way, when I graduate, I'll definitely be more amazing than you. I can easily stay in a university as a professor. Violet, smiled and directly clapped for her, keep your word. What she said was heard by everyone. And they started to praise her one after another. Sunny really has great ambition. She'll be more promising than her sister in the future. My father grinned from ear to ear. My Sunny has been independent-minded and ambitious since she was a child. Sunny spoke with such confidence. But when it came to actually checking the results, she backed down. Scarlett, you check your results first. Scarlett sat nervously in front of the computer, searched for the website, and started to check. The relatives who were originally outside rushed in all at once. They gathered together to look at Scarlett's results. When the results came out, everyone exclaimed in surprise. 546. Scarlett, you're so good at studying and still so modest. Sunny walked forward in disbelief. After seeing the score, a flash of jealousy appeared in her eyes. 546 is just so-so. My score in the last semester test was even better than this. Her words made Scarlett completely embarrassed. I really don't study as well as you. But this is the score I got through my hard work. And I'm also very satisfied. Scarlett's score was already enough to get into a first-tier university. And her efforts had been rewarded equally. Then, let out a low sigh. It was Sunny's turn to check her results. Sunny, you could even outperform Scarlett in the tests last semester. After a semester of review, surely you can easily get 600 points. Right? My mom said cheerfully. Absolutely. Our Sunny really has the ability. My uncle pouted in dissatisfaction. Let's wait and see the grades first before talking about ability. Sunny could no longer make excuses and reluctantly took a seat in front of the computer desk. I saw her trembling hands as she entered the information. I felt a sense of comfort in my heart. It's a bit too late to start being afraid and guilty now. Since she's so good at ruining her own future, is she still afraid of what others say? Not to mention anything else. I'm more eager to see her grades than anyone else present. Everyone stared at the computer screen, not even daring to blink. But Sunny's hand, which was entering the information, became slower and slower. And her fingertips were trembling severely. Eventually, Heaventul Selwad Sasho. As if she had lost her spirit. She said impatiently. Can you guys stop staring? What does my grade have to do with you? Hearing this, everyone looked embarrassed and glanced at each other. After all, my mom had invited the relatives here to hold a celebration banquet for Sunny. Her current attitude made my parents lose face. My mom persuaded her in a good-tempered way. Sunny, I know you're nervous. Since Scarlett could get such grades, it shows that this exam wasn't difficult. You're almost certain to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. My uncle immediately got annoyed. Sis. What do you mean? My Scarlett did well in the exam. If Sunny can really get into Tsinghua or Peking University, does that mean the provincial top scorer is also determined by grades alone? Scarlett mustered up her courage and said, Yeah, Auntie. At least let Sunny check her grades for us to see. I've already checked mine. It's not appropriate for Sunny not to check, right? All the relatives sided with Scarlett's family. They were all getting a bit impatient. The sweat beads on Sunny's forehead dropped onto the desktop. Her face gradually turned deathly pale. I admired the expression on her face and took the initiative to say to my mom. It's just about checking the grades. Mom. They're all getting impatient. We're almost going to miss the celebration banquet. Sunny suddenly raised her eyes and looked at me. However, at the moment she looked at me, my mom had already clicked the query button for her. She was still mumbling. Look. It's already logged in. Sunny. Don't be afraid. If you don't dare to look, I can look for you first. In an instant. Sunny, as if she had lost her soul, shouted in shock. No. But it was too late. Everyone stared at the computer screen in disbelief and fell into a long silence. Sunny rushed forward without any grace, hugged the computer, and cried out. Don't look. Don't look. My mom covered her mouth in shock, her eyes full of doubt. Why? They weren't mistaken. The provincial top scorer wasn't Sunny. It was Jasper, who had always been the second in the grade. As for the grades of her precious daughter, which she was so proud of, they were simply not worth mentioning. Is this wrong? Violet. Come and take a look. Is your sister's grade wrong? My mom grabbed me, a look of anxiety on her face. Sunny was still blocking the computer screen, not allowing anyone to look. How could she only get 433 points? Sunny's grades had plummeted. She could get 433 points only because she had a good foundation laid in the 3 years of high school. Sunny immediately turned her head to look at the computer screen. Suddenly, she laughed. Great. I should be able to apply to the same school as Flynn. Right? My uncle let out a heavy breath. With such grades, she still dreams of getting into Tsinghua or Peking University. She'd be lucky to get into a second-tier college. Yeah. Sunny. I thought you were good at studying. How could your grades be so bad now? Is she in a relationship? Has her mind been messed up by love? Sunny frowned, her eyes full of coldness. What do you know? Flynn is very good to me. I'm going to marry him in the future. A woman studies just to marry a good man. Doesn't she? My dad came in after smoking a cigarette outside. Violet. With her grades. What kind of school can she get into? I told the truth. Spend some money. And she can get into a relatively expensive second-tier college. My parents were as if struck by lightning. Their faces turning pale. They had never considered schools other than Tingsha and Peking University. Now, it was a mess. What was supposed to be a celebration banquet had now turned into a consolation session. All the relatives were comforting my parents, telling them to look on the bright side. Nevertheless, someone still couldn't help but remind my mom. I think Sunny is crazy about being in a relationship. She doesn't even care about her studies. She's not learning well at such a young age. She's really not as serious and down to earth as Scarlett. Sunny retorted sharply. Who says I'm crazy? Flynn and I are truly in love. What do you know? These words instantly irritated my dad. He raised his hand and, unable to hold back anymore, slapped Sunny hard across the face. Everyone gasped. My dad pulled a long face and said in a deep voice. You break up with Flynn immediately. If it weren't for him delaying your studies, could you have gotten such bad grades? This slap was delivered with great force. Half of Sunny's face turned red and swollen. She reddened her eyes in grievance and shouted, I just want to be with Flynn. I love him. I not only want to be with him, but I also want to marry him and have children with him. The relatives were shocked by her words. My mom, feeling ashamed, quickly sent the relatives away. Now that the excitement was over, I also planned to leave. But before I could go out, my dad called me to stop. You stop right there. I stopped in my tracks but didn't turn around. Violet. Aren't you a teacher in charge of the college entrance examination review? Did you already know your sister's grades? I couldn't help but retort. Dad, what exactly are you trying to say? Violet. She's your sister. Since you already knew, why did you come here on purpose to watch us make a fool of ourselves? Why didn't you tell us her grades in advance? Sunny, who was hiding behind my dad, looked at me somewhat triumphantly. I took a deep breath and coldly explained to him. There are regulations in the school. I have my own responsibilities. How could I abuse my power for personal gain? My dad snorted twice in anger and said with a straight face. Since you couldn't tell us, couldn't you secretly add some points to your sister's test paper during the review? They didn't care about my future at all, only thinking about adding points for Sunny. From beginning to end, they never considered my situation. I was really furious. Add points? You might as well ask if she even took the exam seriously. On the math test paper, almost all the major questions were blank. What? Do you want me to write the answers on the test paper for her right now? I glanced at my parents and my eyes landed heavily on Sunny. From now on, I won't help Sunny at all. And don't come to me anymore. Before I finished speaking, my mom started crying. She wiped her tears and sobbed. Do you want to cut off relations with us? You crazy girl. Yes. It's best if you think so. I had already repaid my life for their upbringing in the previous life. In this life, I don't owe them anything. Since then, I never contacted my family again. Until half a year later, I suddenly received a call from my mom. She said she had a serious illness and asked me to go to the hospital to see her. After much hesitation, I still went to the hospital. Unexpectedly, lying on the hospital bed, all she talked about was Sunny. She held my hand and said humbly, Violet, your sister's current school isn't good. Can you transfer her to your school to repeat her senior year? You can take care of her. I curved my lips and looked at her inferently. Seeing that I wasn't moved at all, my mom started crying again. Your sister could have gotten into Tingsha or Peking University. It's not easy for our family to have a student from Tingsha or Peking University. It would bring honor to our family. But the university she's studying in now doesn't match her talent at all. I suddenly laughed. You're really blindly confident in her. My mom ignored my sarcasm and reached out to tightly hold my wrist. Violet. She's your sister. Can you just watch her life end up like this? Coincidentally, in the high school you're in, not many people know Sunny. It's just right for her to repeat her senior year there. looking at her full of anticipation. I crushed her hope word by word. Don't even think about it. It's absolutely impossible. After saying that, I broke free from her hand and calmly stared at her. My mom's tears fell silently, and she hoarsely questioned me. Sunny, are you trying to kill me? In the following few days, my mom called me every day. My dad did the same. He came to my school time and time again to plead for Sunny, asking me to help them and let Sunny repeat her senior year. It continued until the fourth day when my dad came to the school and met me. I was too lazy to talk to him and turned to leave. But my dad received a phone call. What? Sunny is going to commit suicide? Huh. Reborn once. She's actually trying to commit suicide again. This is really interesting. My dad's face turned pale with anxiety. Violet. Go home and persuade her. Will you? Fine. I really want to see what new tricks Sunny is playing this time. As soon as I entered the house, I heard Sunny's crying and shouting. I don't want to repeat my senior year. If you force me to, I'll kill myself. Then it'll be 2 lives gone. Sunny raised her hand and threw a vase, which shattered on the ground. She angrily picked up a fruit knife from the dining table and pressed the tip of the knife against her neck. Her eyes were blood red, and her tone was firm. If you force me again, I'll commit suicide right in front of you. I took the initiative to remind my parents. Pondering, she said 2 lives gone. Sunny stiffened her neck and said firmly, yes. I'm already pregnant with Flynn's child. My mom's eyes widened suddenly, filled with tears. She seemed to be unable to bear it and slumped down, covering her chest with her hands, and said in great grief, you're so young. What will you do if you have his child? Sunny was still being unreasonable and clearly told them, I'm going to have this baby. I won't repeat my senior year. And I've already dropped out of school. She was like a little girl immersed in a beautiful love, with a brief sense of happiness on her face. I turned to look at my dad. At this moment, he was speechless and looked really bad. He said in a trembling voice, gritting his teeth in anger, Violet, hurry up and persuade your sister. This is the good student you've taught. And that Flynn, he won't end well. I chuckled and said calmly, I can't teach such a love-struck student. She's pregnant now. Let her really commit suicide and see if she dares. My dad glared at me. Sunny's pupils shrank, and her emotions became even more agitated. She screamed, get out of here. I don't want to see you. I hate you. I really, heading to sell my session. Really hate you. Since I was a child, they've always compared me with you. As long as I'm not a little bit diligent, everyone will scold me. Now that I have a baby and my beloved Flynn, no one will compare me with you anymore. Sunny pointed at me angrily, her eyes red. I don't want to see you. You're not allowed to come to my house. It's not surprising that Sunny made such a choice. She deeply knew the pain of losing Flynn. In order to make up for the regrets of my previous life, Sunny held on to Flynn even more frantically and obsessively. And I, too, was trying to make up for the regrets of my past life. So I dedicated all my energy and time to my thriving career. Within a year, I had enhanced the reputation of Nell. 2 middle schools several-fold. I am a mountain, not a stream. I wish to overlook the mediocre ravines from the peak of the mountains. During this period, I heard countless things about Sunny. After she moved in with Flynn, she often suffered domestic violence. Flynn would go out and spend the night with other women, playing around in the social circle, leaving Sunny alone at home. These things had long spread among my relatives and friends. Until half a year later, I met Sunny again at the school gate. At first glance, I really didn't recognize her. She was disheveled, with fine wrinkles appearing on her young face, and the blue-purple marks from being beaten hadn't faded yet. She bent over, stretching her head to look into the school, with intense anticipation shining in her eyes. The moment Sunny turned around, she happened to see me. Sis. I looked at her calmly and asked the security guard to open the school gate. As I passed by her, I didn't pause for a second. But Sunny suddenly grabbed my hand. Sis. Sister. Sunny dropped to her knees in front of me with a thud. There was a strong plea in her eyes. and the tragic look in her eyes made her seem very pitiful. But I didn't feel sorry for her at all. Sis, I should leave too. I know I was wrong. I should have studied hard and taken the college entrance examination seriously. I shouldn't have been with Flynn. She cried miserably, her shoulders trembling. And she lowered her head, looking thin and pitiful. I regret it now. I was really blinded by love at that time. So I was so determined to be with Flynn. Violet, smiled, my eyes fixed on her tear-streaked face. Sonny, when you accused me at the flag-raising ceremony, you were so determined. Did you ever think about regretting? Did you think about my fate after you died? These words instantly hit Sonny. Her tears stopped abruptly. Her eyes filled with shock and surprise. She trembled her lips and couldn't say a word for a long time. So you were reborn too. She seemed to have a sudden epiphany. No wonder you kept your distance from me. No wonder you didn't want to help me. Sonny tightly grasped my hand. And her tears dripped onto the back of my hand, the cool teardrops falling continuously. I loved seeing her look of deep regret. Watching her suffer the consequences of her own actions, and taste the bitterness of regret. Only at this moment could it make up for the me who died of a high fever in the previous life. Sonny rolled up her sleeves and her fair arms were covered with blue-purple marks. The marks of being whipped were obvious. Sis. I lost the baby in my belly. Flynn hit me when he was drunk and beat our baby to death. She covered her chest, her eyes flickering with hatred, regret, and endless grief. Sis. Look how pitiful I am. Can you let me go back to repeat my senior 3-year and give me a bright future? I suddenly found it a bit funny. Did she deserve a bright future? Sonny. A mistake is a mistake. Do you think having a bright future can make up for your past mistakes? I forcefully pulled my hand away from her and said clearly. I've said it's absolutely impossible. I was about to enter the school when Sonny scrambled in front of me. You can ignore me. But what about our parents? She shouted hoarsely. Our parents sold the house to help Flynn pay off his online loans. Now that you're the principal, can't you arrange a place for our parents to live? There must be something should be hateful about a pitiful person. Wasn't all this caused by Sonny? Why should I pay off her debts? I told the security guard, and if they saw Sonny again, they should drive her away and not let her affect the school atmosphere. And since Sonny couldn't find me at school, she could only wait for me at my doorstep. Her only goal was to get me to help her repeat her senior 3-year. So I seldom went home and basically rested in the school dormitory every day. Sonny ultimately didn't get to repeat her senior 3-year. She had gotten used to the off-campus life and found it hard to calm down and study. Until on my birthday. I went to the supermarket to buy ingredients, planning to celebrate my birthday at home. At the checkout counter, I met Sonny. She had now become a cashier in the supermarket. She was stunned when she saw me, then focused on her work again. After I paid, Sonny suddenly said to me, Mom and Dad are carrying goods in the supermarket. Go and see them. I walked out of the supermarket entrance and saw my parents at the back door. They were sweating profusely, carrying heavy goods on their backs, and each step was very difficult. When they saw me, they hurriedly put down the goods in a fluster. My father wiped the sweat and came over. Violet. I thought you didn't want to see us anymore. I really didn't want to. But today was my birthday. My mother eagerly took my hand, with tears glistening in her eyes, and choked up, saying, Violet. We were wrong. After going through so many things, we realized our mistake. We shouldn't have been biased. Shouldn't have always spoiled your sister. And even more shouldn't have made things difficult for you. We never considered your feelings. That bastard Flynn accidentally hit someone and is now in jail. Your sister has also come to her senses. Now no one can bother us. My mother wiped her tears and said almost pleadingly, Violet. Come home with us. I let go of their hands and Violet smiled. Do you know what day it is today? My mother and father looked at each other. They both remained silent. Their voices choked. Look, you see. Those glib tongues also have moments when they can't speak. And now I've let go of it. I will no longer be sad because I didn't have a birthday when I was 18 and was ignored. I smiled and said, Today is my birthday. It was a birthday and also a new beginning. My birthday wasn't unnoticed or unremembered. I returned to the school. And the students prepared a surprise for me. It turned out that they all remembered my birthday and were willing to celebrate it with me. The school was my home. And the students were my family. Another year's new student welcome day arrived. The moment I saw the new students, I felt the scorching sun shining on me. In this life, I must be a good teacher. Having a second chance. I won't let myself down and will make sure my students are all over the world.